Directed by Jonathan Eusebio and starring Huy Quan, Ariana DeBose, Cam Gigante, Mustafa Shakir, and so many more, Love Hurts is a very interesting film filled with comedy, a little bit of romance, some bad jokes, some somewhat okay jokes, and very interesting directing. Is it worth the watch? Let's get into it. What is up, everyone? Thank you for joining me for another video. So yesterday I got to go see a movie early with my girlfriend and my best friend and his wife now, and this movie, I've got to say, was very subpar. From the lack of depth with the story, you have Huy Quan, who plays Marvin Gable, and Leo Tipton, who plays Ashley, his assistant in a realtor business. And basically this guy, Huy Quan, he used to be some badass, I guess you would call him not an executioner, but lack of better terms, an executioner or a hitman, if you will. And he wanted to get out of that life, so he got into the life of realty, doing real estate, selling houses, having this whole business and having all these employees, being Mr. Boss of the Year and trying to be this cool guy with his employees, but just trying to turn over a new leaf. And then you have his brother, who's played by Daniel Wu, who's called Alvin Knuckles Gable, and he is kind of the mastermind behind the whole negative things that Huy Quan was involved in, and he kind of used his brother to be his hitman. Knuckles did. Knuckles used Marvin to be like his hitman and his executioner and do his dirty work. So Sean Astin makes an appearance in this as Cliff, and Cliff is Marvin's boss. He is the boss of the boss. And it was nice to see him in there because it was like a reunion of the Goonies, and we were all talking about it, and we thought that maybe some other people would have shown up and that would have made it a little bit better, but this movie just kind of lacked a lot. So Marshawn Lynch and Andre Erikson come in and they play King and Otis. So you got the two like buddy cop guys that are goofy, who always get their asses kicked throughout the film, and they still somehow are around and they're going after the main guy. So this movie was just basic and bare bones. You have the main guy, you have the love interest, who was Ariana DeBose, who was very, very bland, mind you, and then you have the bad guy, which is Daniel Wu, and then you have the two guys who are going after the good guy and trying to do things for their boss and getting their butts kicked and all around town, and then somehow they get extra firepower at the end but still can't beat him, and then there's all these laughs and all these silly jokes in between, and it's just kind of basic and just bland. Like, it was an hour and 23 minutes, and honestly didn't even feel like anything. I wouldn't say that the movie was boring, but it definitely left a lot to be desired. Like, I was not really that engaged with it. Like, we all were just kind of like meh. Anytime we laughed, it was just because of like the reactions from people. Like, sometimes Marshawn Lynch's reactions were so funny, and then Huy Quan would react to some things and it'd be funny. And honestly, if Huy Quan wasn't in this would be even worse. Like, right now this movie is sitting at a 2-star for me because it just was not good. It did not hit all the boxes, and this movie definitely played on itself. It knew what it was about. It knew that it was a romantic comedy and that it was just like a beat 'em up movie kind of. And I will say that the stunts were through the roof and amazing. That was the best part of the movie, and I mean, David Leitch was one of the producers on it, so I know that the stunts were going to be great. My girlfriend and I love David Leitch's directing and his producing and the way how he does stunts, because stuntmen deserve to have Oscars and stuntmen deserve to be praised more. The stunts were amazing. Like, anytime the action was on the screen, it was like, hell yeah. But it also felt very comic booky and giddy because of one person getting punched, and it wouldn't even be like a severe punch from like a superhuman. It would just be one little punch and this person goes flying across the room. There's one scene where one scene with a refrigerator, and you're just like, okay, this is a bit much. This is kind of stupid. It's just, it is what it is, I guess. I would have taken a full 2-hour movie if they would have fleshed out some more of the story, added a little bit more elements to the story, made it a little bit more interesting, made it a little bit more immersive, made you feel a little more. Again, this movie was what it was. One of my favorite characters from the film was the Raven, played by Mustafa Shakir. He was very interesting. He was dark, he was mysterious. Yes, he was funny too. Like him and Leo Tipton's character Ashley, like them together, they were funny. Even then, it wasn't like that great. There were so many things that happened that you were just like, what are we doing here? What is this? Why are we here? I don't really have much to say about this aside from the fact that I think that this should go straight to streaming. This should not really be in theaters. I loved the luxury of seeing a movie early. That was always awesome. I love movies. My girlfriend and I, we love movies. Man, this was just not great. Like, it just did not. We got up and I was just like, yeah. I look over at Anthony and Haley and we're all just like, yeah. Like, it just was not that engaging. It wasn't that great of a film. I love that Huy Quan is in this, but man, I'd love to see him in something else where he's the lead man and he's an action star, because he's great. He is one of my favorite actors, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to see this film. And Ariana DeBose, I don't know what's going on, because she got an Oscar nomination for the West Side Story, that remake that she did, and then you see her in Kraven the Hunter and you're like, what the hell is going on here? And then you see her in this and you're even more like, what the hell is going on here? To be like a glazed, aloof look and vibe going on, which also boils down to the directing, you know? So if I'm directed a certain way and that's what the director wants and that's my boss, then I guess I have to do what they ask, right? This movie is just not what a lot of people are expecting, and honestly, I didn't really expect that much considering what I read about the movie and saw about it. I was like, okay, this just seems like it's gonna be a fun, gimmicky, beat 'em up movie. And that's kind of what it was, but it still lacked some of the fun. So thank you guys for joining me for this review. It's always appreciated. You know the drill. Leave a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to share and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Until the next one.